Oh my God, it's the aphids! They're everywhere! They're everywhere!
But I
I'm
love them.
dying. I'm
Oh,
dying.
no.
I'm dying. Oh
You
God.
swallowed some. You swallowed some
I
aphids.
swallowed some. I swallowed some. Yes, indeed. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to yet another fun, or maybe not so fun, installment of the Cup Duet Reviews brought to you by Cup of Hemlock Theatre. I am your formerly ginger, now bald co-artistic producer, Mackenzie, and we have a new panelist joining us on our Folia de mission today to summarize the wonderful Bug by Tracy Letts over at the King Black Box. I have the wonderful Istvan. Hello, Istvan.
Hello.
How are you,
I
good sir?
I am elated.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, you were someone we were hoping to get on because I know Ryan's wanted you on our show for a while, and then you had said to him, I guess a while ago, that this was one of your favorite plays, and so when we got the opportunity to come review it, Ryan was like, "We got to get Istvan on." I said, "Brilliant, let's get him in." So let us know kind of who you are, what's your
Yep.
ensemble today, what's in your cup, and kind of give us a little bit of why Bug is your favorite play.
Sure. So my cup here, which is not my favorite cup, it's a little smaller than I
Mm.
like. It is, however, it has a color palette
Mm.
that reminds me of Sophie Ann Rooney's production design for
Love it.
Bug. In it, I have some coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I have gotten more into tea, but I chose coffee because tea I find more soothing, and soothing is not the right
Mm-hmm.
vibe for this discussion.
That's
So
fair.
I have my coffee. And my ensemble is this threadbare shirt, which I have had
Mhm,
for many, many years. It's my comfort shirt.
mhm.
It used to be a dark blue, but I bleached it, and now it's this strange purpley brown, faded into nothing color. And
Yeah.
it's there isn't much left of it. It's coming apart, but it's comforting to me. And it reminds me specifically of Agnes White. I
Mhm.
believe she could rock this. So
Absolutely.
that's my outfit. And I don't have anything buggy, but I have this piece of abstract art, which was my first major art purchase. It's
Mm.
a piece from a local artist named Abbas Rizvi, and it's called Disavow Your God. I'm not going to pretend to understand why he called it that, but I find it very compelling and have since I first encountered it at my friend's gallery. And the reason I wanted to show it is that I see things in it, and that reminds me of a scene in Bug.
Mhm.
Peter, a character named Peter, happens upon an abstract painting that he sees things in. So, and
Mhm.
I see things in this. So that I thought was appropriate.
I love that. I also love your pigeon picture back there too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, she's a joy.
Yeah.
Astute viewers might also notice this is another piece from a local playwright. This is Vashti Hawkins, and I have that
Okay.
commissioned. It's my banner image on my website,
Oh,
actually, at istvandugalin.com. But this is the
I love
original,
it.
which I have hung up. And yeah, so
Yeah, why
Bug.
bug? Yeah.
I first encountered Bug. I read it when I heard that William Friedkin would be adapting into a film. I am a huge William
Mhm.
Friedkin fan.
Mhm.
He was very, very popular in the 70s. That's when he was sort of aligned with the zeitgeist, with The
Mhm.
Exorcist and The French Connection and Sorcerer and a lot of great
Mhm.
films. I heard he was doing an adaptation of this off-Broadway play called Bug, and so I thought I should read that, find out what he's doing next. And I read it, and I was just enthralled. I felt it in my
Mhm.
guts. I had a very
Mhm.
visceral response to the script. And I thought, surely, oh, the film is not going to do it justice. It's not can't possibly be the same dark,
Mhm.
strange thing. And it, for the most part, was. It's quite a faithful adaptation,
Mhm.
and I love the film. And so far, up until last night, it was the best rendering of this play that I had seen. I saw a production in Toronto about a decade ago, a little over, that was very
Mhm.
mediocre and
Oh dear.
disappointing. And I have just been waiting for it to appear in Toronto, a good
Mhm.
production. And
Mhm.
last night, boy, did I know the play quite well, but still there were things that startled me.
Mhm.
It's what any really great interpretation should do, right? Startle you
Absolutely.
even are that familiar with the play.
Mhm.
So it is, again, it's something that resonates very strongly with me. I mean, sometimes
Mhm.
it isn't just the craft of it, just the whole ethos of it.
Mhm.
I can feel it. I can feel it
Yeah.
tingling in me.
You
Just
can
think,
feel the aphids under your skin.
yes, yeah, it did. It got under my skin and it never left. And it was very cathartic to see it realized so intensely
Mhm.
and authentically. What a great production. Man, I can hardly wait to
Yeah.
get to the details.
Oh, we're gonna dive in deep. We're gonna dive in deep. I'm gonna say though, I am drinking some Earl Grey tea from the cup.
It's my favorite tea.
Right? It's my favorite as well. A little bit of honey in there,
Mm,
soothes the throat. Then I'm rocking my like kind of military gray, like, you know, sweater, I guess. It's like very kind of militaristic, I find, kind of old school.
mm.
Mm. So I have that going on, and
Relates to
yeah,
Peter.
pardon?
Relates to Peter.
It relates to Peter, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It's like kind of that, like 70s military, like, it's kind of like the old school guys on the base would wear like a fatigue type thing. So yeah, I think it works. I think it worked, But yeah, Bug, I didn't know much about it, honestly. I knew Ryan knew more about it than I did, and he was excited for it, which I was like, okay, if Ryan's excited for something, that's usually a good sign the material's good.
Hmm.
And so then Sophie and I were talking about Bug when I interviewed her after Romeo Pimp, and she got me even more excited. So I was really happy we got the invite to come and talk about it and review it. And talking with Sophie afterwards was even better because there's so much more detail that her and I were able to talk about at the end of the show that I'm like excited to talk about here in this forum. So that's going to be so fantastic. But are you going to go to Broadway to see Carrie Coon
I,
star in Bug?
I am likely not going to get out to Broadway.
Ah, oh dear. Hopefully they
I've
do a
never
pro
been.
shot.
It's not even that far. I should go sometime soon, but
I
I
went to Broadway
probably
back in grade 10 with the school trip. I haven't been back since. But I would love to go back. And I think Carrie Coon, I think she's playing Agnes. That's
that
who
would
she's
make sense.
playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she's a big name, so it would make sense for her to play Agnes. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So, but apparently now the rights have skyrocketed since the Broadway announcement. So, Sophie was like, thank God we got our right request in before the big
Yeah.
announcement came. So now we're like ahead of the trend of like the resurgence of Bug. Because this is actually like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, you said you'd seen it a decade ago in the city. I'm like, how has it not come back in a decade? I'm surprised it hasn't come back more because, like, it's a small cast.
Hmm.
It's a pretty easy one set show. And so it's like interesting that like people haven't programmed where like you see Doubt crop up like, every other year
Yeah.
in Toronto, and it's like nobody's touched Bug. And it's like, I would touch Bug just as much as I would touch Doubt. Like, it's great, small cast, kind of two-hander scenes. Like, it's perfect. So, yeah.
Well, a part of it could be the confidence that to properly realize maybe the gore elements. That could be
Yes.
an aspect of hesitation with it.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could go, but if you're going to go for naturalism, then
Mhm.
you have to. And once we get to it, I'm so impressed with what they could do in such
Yeah.
an intimate small space. Should I talk a little bit about what it is, like a non-spoilery?
Yes, yeah, give us like a kind of a non-spoilery plot summary of this piece because I'm sure there are some people who have no idea what this play is
Right.
about. And we
So,
should give fair warning about what this
yes,
play is in general terms first.
yes. So it is about two loners, a woman who with a tragic, well, not tragic, but what sort of tragic, but
That's a
a
tragic
traumatic,
backstory.
especially
Traumatic.
traumatic backstory, who gets involved with a drifter, also a loner with a traumatic
Mhm.
backstory, and they come together and they create a little world for themselves
Yeah.
in this motel room
Mhm.
that features bugs, and
Mhm.
they create by pulling elements of their own lives and
Mhm.
from conspiracy theories and popular culture. They
Mhm.
create a mythology for what those bugs are, where they came from, and why they're there. And there's people on their periphery who
Mhm.
recognize how unhealthy this situation is,
Mhm.
but
Poor
they can't.
RC.
Yes. And they can't stop it. And it goes to some very dark, hilarious,
Mhm.
devastating places from there.
Yes. Yes. You know what? It's the better version of what Joker Folia de should have been. I
Yes,
have to say. After sitting through that monstrosity of a film, I'm like, this isn't it, people. But
right.
this, I'm like, if they had done a similar Joker Harley film in this style, that would have worked. what we
Mhm.
got there was just not it. But folie à deux is like such a fascinating concept and diagnosis, and when you study it, it's because I was
Mm.
reading about it last night when I got home in bed, and I was like, it's really scary, the
Yeah.
concept of a folie à deux, which people who don't know, it's on the back of your program, so you can read it. But basically, it is a rare psychiatric syndrome where delusional beliefs are shared between two closely associated individuals. So that just opens the door for like, what is that shared delusion going
Mhm.
to be? And I mean, I will say, like, in general terms, we definitely got to start with giving our wonderful cast. So we had L.A. Sweeney, who was our Agnes, and Nicholas Eddy, who was our Peter.
Mhm.
And the two of them together were so heartbreakingly dynamic.
Mhm.
Like, it was incredible to watch them play opposite each other and slowly but surely fall into this folie à deux together.
Mhm.
And I was so riveted by just their conversation that like there's never a dull moment in the
Mhm.
piece. Like it never felt like it lagged or slowed. Like once the piece really got going, like the first, I want to say 20 minutes is a bit of like that slow walk into the water, and then it's
Mhm.
like you drop like off the deep end of the pool, and but once they sleep together, that's it. Like you're
Yeah.
in, like that's it. There's no way out, and so it was just brilliant. As I said with the last show we did, Romeo Pimp, where that piece gripped you and didn't let you go. Once again, Sophie has chosen another play that once again grips you and does not let its hands off you until you're leaving the theater. And even then, I would argue it sticks to you. Like there are pieces, there are fragments that are like you're still stuck with. There's a very infamous scene which we'll talk about it in the post spoiler
Mm.
section that deals with pliers that I'm like still thinking about, even though I couldn't watch it personally.
Right.
It's still like the visuals still stuck with me, and just there are so many moments that just were so striking and heartbreaking. And the director of this piece, it was directed by Andrew Cameron. He was able to continually build and release dread throughout the piece. Like there were so many moments where you knew something bad was going to happen, and you could feel it just like a bug under the skin, like just itching its way until finally it pops, and it's
Yep.
like, and you're like, oh god, okay, okay, oh god, okay, we're going worse. Like I just doesn't let you go. It's lovely. It's lovely. And I was saying to Sophie last night, because she did our production design for this, and her and I had talked about this in our interview. But when I don't know if you ever saw this, but in 2011, I think it was,
Mm.
Stratford did Titus Andronicus
Mm.
with John Vickery. And it was at the old Tom Patterson in Stratford. And the entire set was white, like a faux white marble.
Mhm.
And that because of that, the stage lights reflected off the set, meaning you
Mm.
could see everybody in that theater. Everybody was you could not see them. So on one side of the theater you had Christopher Plummer and his wife watching the show, and on the other side you just had general audiences, and it was all in the thrust. And Titus Andronicus, right?
Yes, it is one of my favorite Shakespeare's.
Me
And
too.
I love it. It's considered sort of low tier, but I think it's incredible. I love specifically the uglier Roman plays I find very compelling.
Right?
Coriolanus is another one. But yeah, Titus, I love Titus.
Me
I love
too.
how
I love it.
nasty it is.
That's exactly it. So with a set light that reflects the light, there are so many moments like in Bug that are like cringing and scary. Like there's the moment where Lavinia is being attacked and she comes back out with no tongue and no hands.
Mm.
Or there's the moment of when Titus cuts off his own hand, and you could see everybody in the audience reacting to the violence.
Mhm.
And you could see some people like Christopher Plummer who were cackling and
Mm.
having fun with what was going on. And there were moments where the lady on the other side of the theater had her coat over her head, and she
Right.
did not come back after intermission because she was so terrified, I guess, by what she was seeing. And so this was a very similar setup
Mhm.
where I could see Ryan across from me, and I could see his reactions, and I could see Sophie's reactions. And like
Mhm.
Sophie afterwards, like, I saw you hiding during the infamous scene with the pliers. And I was like, yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't watch it. She's like, I know,
Yeah.
I could see you. And I'm like, that's exactly what the set was meant to do. It's meant that you can see everybody and everybody can see you. You were stuck in like this petri dish
Yeah.
of horror. And there's more into the set, and we'll get into that post spoilers as well, because Sophie did intertwine some other great motifs in there. But just in general, like you're in that room once again, and it's a great space. Like
Mhm.
for such a small, intimate space, what they're able to do with it and rework it, it's terrifying that you can see everybody and see everybody's reactions. Like some people were gleefully watching what was going on in that hotel room, and some
Mhm.
people were horrified. Some people were like unsure. Like it was great
Mhm.
watching that come together in this space. And so, yeah, I mean, like, have you ever seen anything at King Black Box before?
Oh, yes, I've seen
Okay,
everything they've done so far.
okay, perfect. So then you saw Romeo Pimp.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I caught all of their last season as well.
perfect, amazing.
I'm a huge fan of their ethos. They do very raw, visceral,
Mm-hmm.
authentic work in a very
Yep.
small venue
Yes.
where you have to bring the humanity because there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing to hide behind, right?
Yes.
And yeah, I am a huge fan
Mm-hmm.
of the work they do, and I was excited when I found out they were going to be doing Bug with
Mm-hmm.
Elkabong Theatre,
Yeah.
and because I had a feeling that they would do it justice. They had the right,
Mm-hmm.
the right ethos.
Yes. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And I will say, just so everybody knows, I'm going to pull up my notes here. So, Bug is running at the King Black Box, just so everybody knows. It runs until, let me just have my note so we make sure everybody can buy their tickets. So, it runs until Saturday, December 13th. So, there's still a good amount of time to go see it. So, I'd recommend getting out there. It's Bug by Tracy Letts, done by King Black Box and Elkabong Theatre Projects. So, there and see that. And I think we're ready to throw up our spoiler tooth. What do you think?
Sure.
Yeah, because I feel we're dancing around a lot of stuff and we're having like dropped in to it yet. So our spoiler tooth is now up on the screen in all its gory goodness.
I can
So
hardly wait to see it.
right, right. I'm gonna have fun making it. I can tell you
Yeah.
now, I'm gonna have fun making this tooth. So yeah, the tooth. Okay, so that's the part where I had to turn away. I could not watch him rip his tooth out. And I clocked the pliers
Right.
early on when I walked into the set, and I was like, because I was like, something Sophie and I talked about, and it was something her and I connected on originally, and why we were able to come in and do an interview with her was when I saw Romeo Pimp, I had talked all about the symbolisms and everything that she had woven in, and then that got us talking, and so I knew going in, like I was like, Sophie's not going to let this go. She's going to weave in and place things and do things. And the minute I walked in, I was like, there's pliers in front of a mirror. I'm like, I guarantee 99% sure somebody's ripping a tooth out at some
Right.
point in this piece. Why else would you have? It's either that or a fingernail. One of the
Right.
two is getting ripped out. And thankfully it was the tooth, which it's a bit more easy to hide and not look at. But they did it like the gore of this show. Like that should be a bit of a trigger warning that this play does deal like it's gory. Like they don't sugarcoat the violence of this piece, which I appreciate. Whether it's like the sores,
Hmm.
like from the in self-inflicting the picking, or then you got the tooth pull, or it's when
The
he comes out of
stabbing.
the stabbing, which is like uber violent. Like I can see why he like because the actor who played the doctor was Sean Jacqueline, and he like came in and I could see something was going on under his shirt because of the way because it was a bit of a bigger shirt than what he would normally would have worn. And I was like, hey, something's going on there. And then the minute they started stabbing him and all that blood came out, I was like, oh my god, he's like carrying like a sack of like a milk bag of blood. And it works. Like once again, it's like if you were to be stabbed,
Hmm.
it's not a little drop of blood. It's like let it
Yep.
out. Like and the fact that like they were willing to go that far and be that visceral like that's when I saw a lot of the audience like start getting really squirmy in their seats because like it's so violent, and then his body's right there,
Hmm.
bleeding out on stage the entire time. It's and then he stood up at the end and he was just soaked
Yeah.
in blood. It was like brilliant. Like once again, like Andrew, the staging of that moment, that dread, that slow build of dread, and that whole conversation because it's Dr. White and Agnes first and then it's like, okay, how does he know about Lloyd? I'm like, well, he probably heard about Lloyd from, oh, what's his name? What's Agnes's ex-husband's name?
Jerry Goss.
Goss. Yeah, thank you. I'm sure Goss probably told him about Lloyd. Probably.
Mhm.
That's where I was like, that's probably the real reason why he knows. It's not a conspiracy that he knows about.
Well, yeah, he knows enough about the situation that he is encountering to know that he has to play into it a little bit to
Yes.
get what he needs,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it's a
Yes.
little bit cruel. Part of what I love about that is he's a doctor,
Mhm.
and what he's doing is he's trying to do something good, but he has to be cruel, very cruel,
Yes.
in order to
Yes.
try to do that. And I actually find that one of a very moving aspect of
Right?
some of those final moments, that
Yeah.
you can see the good he's trying to do and recognize too just the heart-wrenching cruelty that
Mhm.
he has to inflict in order to try and get what he wants.
Mhm.
And that stabbing scene too, it's everything about this production is so well paced, because you have that initial jab, which is the thing
Mhm.
that's very jarring and very upsetting, and you
Mhm.
almost feel as if that's it.
Mhm.
And there's a beat or two, and then there's just more. And it feels
Mhm.
very relentless for this
Yes.
little period of time.
Yeah.
And that, I thought, was how that segment was orchestrated, I thought was
Mhm.
very, very, very clever. And
Yes.
I also, not as gory, but the first major bit of violence we see is when her ex Goss slaps her.
Yes. That got a
And
big gasp from the audience.
that is very well done. In fact,
Mhm.
especially in such a small space, I see a lot of, I'm surprised there's no fight choreographer mentioned in the credits. I guess the director and cast worked through that themselves, and bravo,
Yeah, I mean,
because
maybe Andrew has that experience
background,
himself,
he
maybe?
could.
Yeah,
It
because I'm
is
not seeing it listed. Let's see.
very, yeah, no,
Or
I looked through it. I didn't see anything. So I think
Mhm.
he worked through it with his cast. They did it.
Yeah.
And it, so often I see fight choreography in plays and I just don't buy it. I can see the hesitation, and I know that
Yeah.
they're trying to be safe. And
Yes.
yes, of course, but the craft is being safe while also making the audience
Mhm.
genuinely frightened
Mhm.
for the people on stage. And I
Mhm.
was here, and I was convinced that, I spoke to Ryan afterwards because he was on the opposite end, and I thought,
Mhm.
surely he had the bad vantage point of this
Mhm.
slap. And I asked him, he says, no, he thought I had the bad view, which
I
is
thought I
very
saw the
inviting.
nap potentially. Like I thought, but they hit it so well that I was like, maybe it was
Yeah.
the nap, maybe it wasn't the nap because it's so fast. Like it's so quick and violent. Like it reminded me of you've seen Oliver, right? Like the 1968 film
Yep.
Oliver. Yeah. There's the moment where Bill Sikes slaps Nancy, and I remember that as a kid
Mhm.
terrifying because it's so abrupt and fast
Yep.
that it throws you off your axis, and it's like, whoa, like what did I just see? And that's the point of good stage choreography is you shouldn't see it coming. It
Mhm.
should shock you. And that slap, like I think that's why I got such a visceral like gasp from the audience because like we all knew Goss is not a good human being. Like we all
Mhm.
got the vibe he's a shitty, scary guy. But it was that first moment of like, oh my god, like he just clocked this poor woman. Like it was terrifying. Like my heart broke for her in that moment because it opened the door for you to understand why is she willing to go on this journey with Peter? Like,
Mhm.
what has gone on with this woman that's making her so susceptible to to fall into this folie à deux? And it's like,
Mhm.
well, this is a woman who's now we're in spoiler zone. She's lost her son.
Mhm.
She's been married to an abusive ex-husband who's now come back into her life.
Mhm.
She's looking for an escape. She's turned to drugs to help numb the pain. Like, there's a lot of like, once again, it's not one thing. It's that slow death by a thousand cuts that lead to her to fall in with Peter in the way that she does. And so yeah, that slap was really that kind of clinching moment of like, okay, now we get the full picture of where she's coming from, like what a kind of what's her base level that she's going to build up from in this piece, and it's
Mhm.
horrifying. Yeah, that slap was oh.
It is interesting to see the men that Agnes is drawn to, because
Mhm.
they're both Goss and Peter are controlling in their own way. I mean, Goss is
Yes,
very antagonistic, like he's very
he is.
overtly threatening,
Mm-hmm.
and he tries to intimidate people. The Peter is equally controlling, but he's sneakier about it, right? He comes off as very meek, very
Yeah.
gentle,
He's a slow
but
burn.
but he finds your weakness, right? He
Mm-hmm.
finds the thing that makes you vulnerable,
Yeah.
accesses it and uses it.
Mhm.
And so he's equally controlling, and it seems that she is drawn to that type of personality, right? But
Mhm.
in this, perhaps she feels she has more control over the situation, which is why I guess she sort of follows through with Peter.
Mhm.
But they're equally
Mhm.
controlling of her.
They are, and I no, you just brought up an interesting thought that popped into my head. You've seen The Crown, have you? With
You know what? I have not.
Okay, watch The Crown. It's really great. But
Mm.
there is an episode where Jackie and JFK visit Buckingham Palace, which historically they did. And there's a great dialogue scene Peter Morgan wrote for the Queen and Jackie, where they both talk about how why is it that people who don't seek the spotlight, who are quieter, oftentimes are drawn to people who are louder and more
Mm.
controlling and more assertive. And Jackie goes, well, it's because they give a sense of protection, but at
Mm.
the same time, they expose you. I guess that give and take of, yes, they're going to give you a shield because then the attention's not on you, but you're going to be with them at all times, meaning you're still going to be drawn out into these social situations in this environment. And I'm like, that's kind of Agnes, where like she's depending on Goss and Peter as a protection for her, but at the same time, they're going to draw her into whatever world they're in, and in turn that's going to open the door for other problems. And it's like that, it's that same thing of Agnes has become so sad and heartbroken by the loss of Lloyd that it's opened her up to being in these relationships with these men
Mm.
that are so tragic. And I got to give a shout out to the man who played Goss, and that was
Bongani Musa.
yes,
I hope I'm pronouncing that
yeah,
right.
I think you're right. But getting Musa, because like his scene with Peter, where he's insulting him and like mimicking him,
Yeah.
that was the first time I was like, is this where Peter's gonna snap and like stab him? Because they set up the box cutter
Yeah.
earlier in that scene, like because I don't know how they did the trick with the thumb, because he does put blood in the petri dish. So I'm like,
Mhm.
they can't actually have him cutting his thumb like every night. There's got to be some little bug pack or something that he's hiding somewhere. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, that's like a Chekhov gun of at the top of the scene. We set up the box cutter. We got Goss, who is antagonizing Peter constantly. We know Peter
Mm.
is, a bit unstable and off and not grounded. So it's like, when's he gonna snap? Especially when he starts touching the petri dish. I'm
Mhm.
like, when's he gonna snap and like stab this guy? And it's like, no, that Dr. White gets that finale at the end, but Goss doesn't. But it's like that whole scene was like such a great sense of build up dread, but it doesn't actually lead to any like violence on Goss. And I was like, that's great because it leaves me in that lurch of when are they going to come to blows, these two? And they
Mhm.
really don't. Tracy Letts didn't take the traditional route of these two men facing off. It's like,
Mhm.
nope, both are horrible in their own way and both kind of get their own endings, but they don't clash with each other in that way. Do you have a
I
favorite character of the play?
I No, I try not to
Mhm.
pick favorites because my favorites can change
Yeah.
as quickly and drastically as the weather here.
Yep.
I I find valuable humanity in all of them,
Mhm.
and Tracy Letts has planted that in there. I like, for example, even Goss, who is an abuser, is very human. He's charismatic. And
Yeah.
you can tell, even though he's an abuser, he does care about Agnes and tries hard later to get her out of a situation that he deems dangerous. It's funny, he also introduces danger into her life, and Peter introduces a different sort of danger, but he's trying to protect her from a danger.
Yes.
And I thought Bongani Musa did a fabulous job of allowing us to see, especially in the little details. For example, in the way both he and Agnes regard the basket of Lloyd's old toys, which
Mm-hmm.
have been hidden away. When they come out, each of them has a response to it that they don't talk about it so much. Well, Goss does mention you should put this away before
Yes.
Agnes sees it, right? But she certainly doesn't talk about it, but she reacts, and he reacts because he knows how she'll react. It
Yeah.
holds resonance for them. And
Mhm.
another aspect, and it's not in the writing, but I think it organically came out of the casting. But an element of this production that I find really interesting and specific is the fact that Agnes and Goss are both Black. And
Mm.
the thing that there's a sort of subtext in the casting here that where Goss is, when he's coming into this situation, of course,
Mhm.
Peter is very strange and very eccentric, and he's picking up on
Mhm.
that. And he thinks he can intimidate him, right?
Yeah.
But also, you can tell in their scenes, just with him and Peter and with Agnes present, that an underlying subtext is, oh, Agnes, we had a thing. Are gangly white weirdos your deal now, Agnes? That's an element of it that I find interesting in this
Mhm.
particular, because sort of the energies in there, right? It's
Yeah.
never spoken, but I feel like culturally it's this unspoken thing that
Mhm.
the cast and the audience are aware of, right? This dynamic subtext. This particular production that I found very
Yeah.
interesting. And I also want to shout out her name correct, Alexandra Flores-Matic
Yes, it's
as
RC.
RC. One of the weaknesses of the production I saw about a decade ago is,
Mhm.
so we first see RC, we're introduced to her doing lines of cocaine, right?
Yeah.
And she's supposed to be kind of
Junkie.
affected by that, right? In
Yeah.
the production I saw, they interpreted her as just kind of like spacey and
Oh yeah. No. 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 No.
and
No.
she had no dynamic force.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I believe absolutely that in order for the scene where Peter flips out, when RC is trying to get Agnes out, and it looks like she's
Yeah.
about to succeed, right?
Yeah.
She's bringing logic and reason and objective
Mm-hmm.
vantage point into the situation, and Peter sees the threat. But Peter, I think, needs to be threatened by the presence of RC. And the RC I
Yes.
saw a decade ago was not the least bit threatening, but here
Mm-hmm.
she
Mm-hmm.
was.
Mm-hmm.
RC is a force, and
Yes.
that's very integral. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel so much for her that moment when Agnes says, "Go, can't you let me have anything?" And she tells her to go
Mm-hmm.
because she needs to protect this person who's Peter has sort of an almost an epileptic sort of
I was
fit.
about to say, yeah, it's like an
Yeah.
epileptic like seizure.
And I believe he really is experiencing
Mm-hmm.
that. However, I
Mm-hmm.
think subconsciously the reason he felt he needed to
Mm-hmm.
react that way is to create an event so traumatic for Agnes that
Mm-hmm.
she'll latch on to him fully,
Yeah.
right?
That mothering energy. Yeah.
Yes. And when she says, "Go, get out of my life, I don't want to see you again," right?
Mm-hmm.
Never come back. They don't overplay the moment either. It's when RC leaves, just the look
Mm-hmm.
of defeat on her face is
Yes.
so heartbreaking to me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because she realizes that she's lost. She's not going to
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
any longer. And that moment of giving up and her
Mm-hmm.
leaving is just one of those iconic,
Mm-hmm.
powerful moments.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, RC is my personal favorite character of the
Oh,
show because of the way this production interpreted her, where at the beginning, yeah, I did judge her for doing the lines of coke, because it's like, yeah, like, like she's not, like, clearly she's not a good influence on Agnes,
mm,
who's also, involved in doing drugs as well. And so, like, and so on one hand you're judging, but then the minute she becomes a really good friend who's trying to get her out, I'm rooting for RC really hard. And that's where my, I don't know the right word is, but Nicholas Eddy as Peter, the minute he started doing the big swatting and then the seizure, I was like, oh, this guy's more manipulative than people think. Like, he's
mm,
not, like, he's doing this on purpose to trick, or
mm,
not even trick, to trigger, as you said, something in Agnes. And that was the point where I turned on Peter and I
mm,
went, I don't like this character. Like, what he is doing to this woman is downright horrible. Like I have no sympathy for Peter at that point in the show, because I went, he is actively now destroying this woman,
Mm,
and my heart just broke at that point for Agnes. I'm like, she's never getting out now. Like, this is
mm,
only going to get worse from here. And then from there, we then proceed to the tooth pulling and cutting out the sacks in the bathroom, and then the murder later on, like, and then ultimately their deaths at the end of the show. But yeah, like, that was just something where, like, that was such a great turning point scene of energy, where, like, it was so dynamic watching this tug of war of Agnes, and
mm,
it was so heartbreaking to watch, and it's such a great turn for both Nicholas Eddy as Peter, and then also, as we said, Alexandria as RC, where you watch these two kind of go. And the fact that the way she said the line of "I regret the day I brought you here,"
mm-hmm,
you felt that. You felt that. I felt that gut relief from Alexandria. That anger and that frustration of, why did I ever pick up this drifter? Like, what was
mm-hmm,
I thinking? Like, this now has cost me my friend. You know, like, incredible. Like, yeah, like, RC is one of those characters where I totally am like, go RC, go, like,
mm-hmm.
rip, like, throw Agnes over your shoulder and get her out of there. Do what you got to do to get your friend out. Like, find a way. Yeah.
I It's interesting that you felt very strongly that he's consciously manipulating her with his
Hmm.
spasms.
Yeah.
I think it's an ambiguity that Tracy
Mm,
Letts has set up that you can interpret it in different ways.
yeah.
I believe he is manipulating her, but
Hmm.
all of these things that he's experiencing, I
Hmm.
think he has willed himself into a state
Oh yeah, no, he believes
where
it.
he believes
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
right?
No, he no, yeah, yeah. He believes this delusion about the aphids and everything. Like,
Mhm,
he does believe, but he also knows how to manipulate Agnes into following this. Like his
mhm,
reticent in his belief in it. It's like, oh, of course she's gonna see the bug eventually, because he's so determined. Like that scene where when he first has it after they sleep together, and it's that,
mhm.
oh shit, like something bit me, and it's
Yep.
like, right, and it's like, look, it's right there, and it's like, we've all been in that situation where it's like, I'm not really seeing it, but if I say I'm not, am I like blind? Like, so
Yeah.
then it's that slow burn, and he's so, like, he believes it so deeply that
Yeah.
this is, real for him, that, it's like, I can understand how he could get there, but then I'm also like, part of me also goes, I feel like he is clinging on to someone that he's connected with, and he's dragging her down with him now. Like, he's become the anchor around her neck as she's in the
Mhm.
water. You know, yeah, like, it's just one of those things where it's like, wow. So what did you think of the set? Because, like, the set was so cool. We had the video projections going on at the beginning as well, but then those went away, like, when the show started. And then it was like a great motel
Mhm.
set. So I'll get your thoughts first, and then I'll add in what Sophie told me after the show last night about the set.
So all of the productions that I have seen Sophie design, and some of
Hmm.
them for production she's also directed, right?
Yeah.
And I noticed this even in way back in the Sterling Studio Theater days. I first
Yeah.
encountered Sophie when she was working with Sterling Studio Theater over a decade ago, and they were doing this sort of raw, intimate,
Mm-hmm.
visceral work. And a lot of the designs are not necessarily clutter, although there often is clutter, but key details that give a space an authentic lived in quality, a
Hmm.
patina of everyday casual use,
Hmm.
where the stuff that has accumulated in this space has resonance and meaning, right? That you can look at any
Yes.
one detail and it seems to fit in the space, but also you'll be curious about it. If you fixate on any particular element, you could fall down a rabbit hole of wondering where that bit came from, where that thing,
Yeah.
that prop or that set piece came from.
Hmm.
And one element that I thought was really neat was it's a representational thing. The window that they're looking out of is a mirror,
Yes.
and of course, it's meant to just represent the shape of a mirror, but of a window. But the fact that
Hmm.
it's a mirror, that when people look out, they're looking at themselves and not out at the
Hmm.
world, I thought was symbolically so insightful, right?
Yeah.
because it's also on the other side. It's sitting directly opposite the vanity mirror, the sort of bathroom area
Yes.
vanity mirror. So people are often looking at themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
when they look out at the world, of course, Peter and Agnes are not seeing the world. They've created their own. So when they
Mm-hmm.
look out there, all they're seeing is themselves and the sense they've made of their situation. They're not actually seeing the world out there. The world out there doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. And that relates to one of my favorite lines, which I think is for me anyway, the emotional crux of this, which is it seems all we ever talk about is bugs, but I'd rather talk about bugs with you than nothing with nobody. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, that because when you're in relationships and even really intense friendships, you create your own little world. And this is an
Mm-hmm.
extreme example of a relationship where you create your own little world. And as a sort of what the story is showing, and I'm not saying this is the right way to live, but I understand it
Mm-hmm.
as a human truth that these people who have chosen, like Agnes specifically, to buy into someone else's delusion rather than be alone. The world be damned. I'm to believe you and
Mm-hmm.
this. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't care what anyone says because I have this thing that's mine and we're
Mm-hmm.
creating it together, right? So, and is that healthy? Nope, but I think it's important to recognize that is a human
Mm-hmm.
truth. They are living a human truth.
Yeah.
And it's devastating because it destroys them at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And peripherally it destroys the people who care about them too,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I understand how it happened and it makes sense to me. And the again, Sophie has designed an environment in which all of the elements help to create just an ambiance of genuine life happening, right? That
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
gritty sense
Yeah.
of it doesn't feel like a set. It feels like
No.
you've been
No.
dropped into this
Yes.
hotel room, right?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
slightly off, and you
Yeah.
can't even put your finger on why exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that's exactly, yeah, like I totally agree. Like that set felt lived in. Like you felt like the Agnes had lived here a while. Like there was everything that like a motel would have, and then it's like you could see that things were added to make
Hmm.
it so for her it was her home. And yeah, there's so many things on the set. So how am I gonna break this down? Okay. First off, we have the videos at the beginning, which are like a great mind into Peter, because you got the Alex Jones videos, you got the 9/11 conspiracy videos playing, you got like the Oklahoma bombing a newsreel, like so many great moments in that video thing. We're like, okay, that's the mind of Peter
Yep.
in a nutshell. And it's on the periphery. It's not actually shown in the hotel. It's in the audience, on the opposite wall of the audience, because the audience is in an alleyway style theater space. So it's like it's that outside world, the outside world of conspiracies, just on the fringes of this motel room, like
Hmm.
waiting to come in. So first of all, that's brilliant in its own right, and then you have everything in that room is has a nature motif to it. Like it's got flowers and vines, and it's like as the piece goes along, and Peter and Agnes are trying to keep the bugs out and away, they start stripping the room or covering up the nature in the room, whether it's covering up the wall so you can't see the flowery wallpaper anymore. We're taking the bedding off that had like the flower comforter. Like
Hmm.
everything in nature is being removed. You're getting now brought into this world of clinical madness, basically a sterile environment. Like you're stripping it of that, which is great.
Hmm.
And then something I talked about with Sophie afterwards, because I talked about the nature. She's like, yes, if you noticed, everything had a wood motif. Like the fridge had like that faux wood on it. Like behind the bed, it was like that bamboo wall type thing. The bed itself was like a wood framed bed. So she's
Hmm.
like, she said, for me, she said the reason why that was there was because it was a tinderbox.
Hmm.
This little room was literally like a crucible, just waiting for somebody to light a match, which happens at the end,
Hmm.
and everything goes boom. But it's one of those things of like that whole space was just a wood pile waiting for someone to come and strike the match and let it all burn. So I was like, oh my god, so many levels here. And I love the way they reuse that door. to put the little curtain up so it became the hotel room door. I was like,
Mhm.
even that like little way of repurposing the room, because in the last Romeo Pimp production, it was just covered in stickers, like a girl's poster, and now it's like become like a proper motel room door. Like, and I love the mirror. I caught the mirror too at the beginning where there's the curtain in front of it, and it's like my parents had that mirror, that like that checkered mirror type thing. And yeah, as you said, they're looking out, but they're seeing themselves. It's like that great reflection in. It's amazing. Like just that set and the levels of details that went into that. Like even the wicker basket that all the toys came in was wood. Like it was
Yeah.
all just tinder boxes waiting to be lit. Like it's fuse waiting to go. Incredible. And then the lighting. The lighting was by, let's see, our lighting was done by Andrew Cameron, Grisha, Pasternak, and Sophia Rooney. And just the way they lit the room differently every time. Like you have like that nice, good, warm lamplight
Hmm.
that's really lovely and homey. And it's when like, Peter and Agnes are connecting with each other and it feels relaxed. And then there's like a cold, like a warm, but like really bright, like full room light. And like that, and that's like a very, it's not clinical, but it's like, it's a harsher light. Like we're
Hmm.
in a harsher space. And then you get to the blue light. And that's like full clinical and it's reflecting off the tinfoil now. And you just feel this unease. Like it creates that like real twisty, like unease of the space now. You've gone from a warm to a really cold blue light. And it's just incredible. Like, I don't know, like, what did you think of the lighting?
Oh, I thought it was incredible. I do love a lot of the practical lamps
Mm-hmm.
that they use. And even a lot of the additional lighting in the warmer, more naturalistic scenes is
Mm-hmm.
well incorporated into the vibe. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
feel theatrically lit.
Yeah.
And even the towards the end, that blue light, I believe
Mm-hmm.
what they're trying to recreate is that the blue of the crackling noise of those electric
Yeah, the bug zappers.
bug zappers.
Yeah.
And you are correct. All of the covering up of all of the
Mhm.
warm,
Yeah.
earthy wooden textures with this
Yeah.
metallic, crinkly, it's material is very uncomfortable.
Yes.
And the another thing, little touches that I found amusing, but and touching in their own way. They're working with so Nicholas Hetty, especially in that space, he's very tall. And
Yes.
especially in that space, he's very imposing. And
Mm-hmm.
he's surrounded by a cast. The cast are not especially small, but in
No.
relation to him, they all seem very small.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they work with that. The scene earlier, there's a scene where he wants to take apart a fire alarm.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
the like,
yes.
yeah, the
Yeah,
fire detector.
not yeah, the detector, because
Yeah.
it's making this sort of chirping, very bug-like
Yes.
chirping noise. And of course, he has a conspiracy theory about the element that's in it and that it's
Mm-hmm.
dangerous. And that's when we start to see his conspiratorial mind at work.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a joke with her at first trying to deal with it and then enlisting his assistance with a look, because obviously he's taller and he
Yeah.
should be doing it. Later, when they're covering everything in this
Yes.
metallic tinfoil, she points to this part that she couldn't reach. And it
Mm-hmm.
becomes this intimate thing between them where, yeah, you're the tall one. There's the
Yeah.
things that you do. And I kind of saved that for you because I can't do
Yeah.
it. And can you please do it?
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that his height has
Yeah.
worked into their life together, I thought was a
Yes.
nice, intimate little touch. It's small,
Yeah.
but it means a lot, these
Mm-hmm.
details, right? These character details about the life that they live together.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, his height was something I clocked so quickly because I was like, it makes him like on one hand he's imposing, but also it also felt like at the beginning he was gentle giant. Like he
Hmm.
comes back with the Twinkies and the breakfast, and he helps scare Goss away because of how big he is.
Hmm.
But then he feels so gentle at the same time. But then as the piece goes on, he gets scarier and more imposing, just in the way he moves and the
Hmm.
way he stands. Like it was just like Nicholas Cage did such a great job in his eyes. Like he was like, oh, what's his name? Who played Shane in Romeo Pimp. I forget his name right now, the actor who played Shane. But he had this way of having his eyes go like as Quint says in Jaws, like a doll's eyes, black, dead, like there's nothing behind them. And Nicholas, he did the same thing where I was like, how does Sophie and her team keep finding these guys who
Yeah.
can like go so scary just in the way their eyes glaze over and become so inhuman and dead and like you can't see the soul anymore. It's just there, like, and they're just like animalistic. It's like him coming out of the bathroom to meet Dr. White
Hmm.
is horrifying. It's like right out of a horror movie. He's this tall, imposing, like Frankenstein's monster figure walking toward this doctor who's been trying to help treat him, and you just feel the dread because he's got the knife in his hand.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh god, like you are, like, doctor, you are no match for this man. Like he's gonna beat you,
Hmm.
no problem. Like you're gonna need a lot of stuff to take him down. Like he's just like yeah, and like the way Andrew directed him and the way he directed that subtle change in Nicholas Eddie's Peter of gentle giant to scary imposing monster by the end was terrific. And also, and also the Bucky reminding me of the most was a praying mantis. Like,
I wonder how he'll feel about that, but I get it.
right? Like the praying mantis like looks like once again it's a really cool bug if you
Yeah.
actually like because I caught one as a kid and kept it in a jar, and they're a fascinating creature. First of all, like just the way they look
Yeah.
is cool, but they are terrifying bugs. Like the fact that female eats the head of the male after mating
Mm.
is horrifying in its own right. But just like they're so common, they have the little barbs on their hands. So the minute if you actually ever see one catch another bug, it's boom, like it's like. But yet they're so calm.
Hmm.
Like as you say, they're a praying mantis. Like they're just waiting on the leaf, and then it's whoop, grab you. Like
Hmm.
it's that same thing. Like he just had that energy about him. Like I was like, he's a bit praying mantisy. Like it's just like waiting for somebody to come by, and then he'll grab you. And I'd say L.A. Sweeney as Agnes. Like I love the fact that they didn't glamorize her. Like even in her makeup, there was like no makeup on her. She was just so plain, and she played so many levels of being broken, and it's such a tragic figure of this piece. It really, and she also had fun. Like that
Hmm.
first scene with her and RC talking about Ted Bundy was so fun. And
Hmm.
then by the end, when she's in that black night slip and she's really out there now, you really do feel the journey she's been on. And I think that's why I felt so bad for her being sunk down by Peter by the end. That's like you saw the light and the love this woman had in her life, and how it's now being taken away from her by this other character. Like I just felt L.A. Sweeney did such a great job of bringing such pain and heart to her Agnes. I never once did I ever feel like I couldn't connect with her throughout the whole piece. And I loved her kimono night dress bathrobe,
Hmm.
where on the back I think it was a crane or a phoenix. I thought it was a crane because I was like, what a great image for her to like
Hmm.
reborn through fire. That at the end she's the one that burns,
Hmm.
but ultimately she's freed from the pain of what she's been experiencing. So yeah, once again the levels of this just so much goodness in here. And I do want to give a special shout out to Amanda Michelle, who's our stage manager, because she came in with 2 weeks' notice. They had another stage manager, unfortunately, had to
Oh.
drop out of the show. And so at the last minute, Andrew was able to get Amanda to come in and step in and with 2 weeks' notice to call this show. And it was seamless last night. Like, very, like, to think you had 2 weeks to get all the cues nailed in such a cue heavy show was just outstanding. Like, bravo. And I was saying to her last night, like, she knew how long to let us sit in the darkness. Like, to the point where it got a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like it was like, I guarantee they were ready for the lights to come up way faster. But she knew it's like, no, hold, let you sit in that dark space and that dread of what's going to pop out at me, like in any good horror movie, where it's like, where's the next jump scare going to come from? Because I'm in the dark and I can't get out.
Hmm.
Like I just thought that was brilliant, and I just want to give a special shout out to Amanda who came in with 2 weeks' notice to
Well,
do this job of stage
stage
management.
managers are the unsung heroes of
Yes,
the theatrical world. The again, they're hardly ever spoken about. However,
Mhm.
when you have one,
Yeah.
that's good.
Mhm.
It's they bring a sense of security to a production,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
That you
Yes.
know that things are going to happen on time, that things are going to fall into their places,
Mhm.
and all of these elements that that need to be coordinated,
Mhm.
they make sure that it happens over and
Mhm.
over and over again, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and we should talk about them more. So that occurs
We
to me
should.
sometimes when I'm writing review that, but I often can't figure out where to plop them in, right?
Mhm.
And
Well, because
that's
they're not
the
supposed to be
thing.
noticed. There has
Yeah,
to be,
exactly.
the see part of the show you don't see, and if you notice them, it's not a great thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't have known about this this last minute step in if I hadn't been told about it last night after the show. When I
Hmm.
was talking to Sophie afterwards, and I got to meet Amanda briefly, and she told me about how she came in with 2 weeks, and I just went, "Oh my god!" Like, talk about a daunting task for a play like this to have to come in and stage manage a piece like this and call it and keep it running. Yeah, like, talk about a seamless slide in that, like, it could have gone way worse. Like,
Mm.
this could have been a really tough situation to walk into, and she tackled it head on. So, yeah.
Did you see the King Black Box production of the George F. Walker play, The Girls Unwanted? Did you see that?
No, I did not. Ryan went and covered that one.
So L.A. Sweeney was in that. I've seen her two other times before. I saw her in that, and I saw her a couple of years ago in a fringe play called House of Whale, I believe, which I
Hmm.
have very mixed feelings about. But
Hmm.
she was a standout in that
Okay.
production, and I have always found her extremely compelling and
Hmm.
very real. And I sometimes, and this didn't happen at all in this production, but sometimes you'll see some in it. Generally, it may be a good performance, but sometimes you'll notice choices,
Yeah.
and I feel that I don't recognize choices so much
Hmm.
in her and in the whole cast here, that the it does feel like authentic life happening in front of me,
Hmm.
and little choices. I don't know if this was her or Andrew the director or a combination of both, but certain very telling details that mean a lot to me, they resonate for me. Another moment that she had after his big freak out, and she's decided to side with him, and she puts on his shirt and
Yes.
sniffs it. It's her sniffing
Yeah.
it that spoke to me, because very
Mhm.
rarely do you see that specific intimacy, right, with
Mhm.
a smell of clothing. It's
Yeah.
something that speaks to me, and I enjoyed the
Mhm.
the things that you would find, little moments like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
that make all the difference.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I got something for you.
Hmm.
So you mentioned that there's supposed to be an intermission in
Oh,
this
yes.
play, and we didn't have one, which I know Sophie, when she was doing Romeo Pimp, really tried to make sure Romeo Pimp also did not have an intermission, but unfortunately, because of some set change stuff, they had no other way of changing the set besides doing an intermission. Because
Mhm.
originally, the original goal was do it straight through. You're locked in the room, no way out. Like, we're going for it. And this play got to do that. So I'm sure Sophie was like, "Yes, I got to do like a locked in piece where you couldn't get out." But where was the intermission supposed to be, and did you find you missed it?
Do you know what? Now that you mention it, I'm actually struggling to remember. Vaguely remember. I think it's when, when she they're embracing and then they come apart and they're looking at each other, and she picks the bug out of his hair. It's the first time that
Yes.
she has on her own
Mm-hmm.
identified a bug.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's where the intermission had.
That's where I felt it could have
Yeah.
gone. Like, that's when I was watching, because I'd heard you say, "Oh, there's supposed to be an intermission," and then they came around and said no intermission. I went, "Okay, interesting." And so I was like, okay, I was looking for like where a moment could. I was either like, it's either there, like after the first moment of, "Oh my god, there is one," or it's after she looks in the microscope after the tooth has been cracked and she goes, "Oh my god, there's millions." Those are
Or
the
was it
two
was it
moments
there?
where I was like, I could see that the tooth pulling one work, because that's where the audience needs a break after such a moment.
I
I
kind
don't
of
know.
I kind of want to look back on it. Now I'm uncertain because that also sounds like a great break moment.
Your instinct was correct. So it's right after Agnes says, "Don't leave me." She spies something in his hair, picks it
Right.
out, and studies it. He sees it too. The helicopter gets even louder, approaching Peter. Blackout. End of Act 1, Act 2, Scene 1 is later on.
Oh, speaking
So,
of the helicopter sounds and
yes.
the bits of score that we
Hmm.
have and the sound
Hmm.
design, and this is the director designed that, Andrew Cameron,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I found it also very compelling. Sometimes a an atmospheric sound design can sometimes be distracting, right?
Hmm.
But this was not. It felt fully integrated
Hmm.
into the action. I found all of the sort of drones and crackles and
The
things.
bug.
Yes, they you really do. It's an oral version of all of that, the skin crawling that you
Yes.
experience while you're watching the play.
Yes.
And and also some poignant, I'm not sure who composed, I'm not sure where the actual, if he composed the actual, because there is a music, and
Hmm.
I'm not sure if he also was the composer of it or if someone collaborated on that. I'm not sure. It doesn't really seem to mention, but I also found that poignant
Yeah.
that was integrated. And again, that sort of element in such a small space can sometimes be
Very
overwhelming, and it
distracting.
wasn't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
overall, I thought exceptionally well paced and all of the elements well integrated. So,
Hmm.
and again, all of that, the gore effects and the violence,
Hmm.
such a small space, and all of it so convincing. And when it's such a small space that people
Hmm.
are going to try to, they are also actively trying to figure out
Yep.
how you're doing it, right?
Yep.
So to be working against that tendency too,
Hmm.
very, very impressive.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So then back to the intermission one. So did you
Yes.
miss the intermission?
No, I love the fact that we just are pulled through it nonstop. I thought
Mhm.
that was the right choice.
Yeah.
I don't think the yeah, I really think it works as a one act.
It does.
But
It really does. It doesn't
it
let you up. I feel like if we got to leave the space,
mhm,
like my anxiety and the dread that I was feeling would go away, and then you got to
yeah,
rebuild that for me as again,
mhm,
and I felt like even though like you could feel like there was a bit of a dip at the end of that scene, and then coming back into the next scene, it felt like okay, you could feel the plays revving back up again. But
mhm,
even then, like it wasn't like oh my god, I feel like I'm resetting the board. It's like okay, we just had a really intense moment. You're giving me a bit of a break. Yeah, at the top of the scene with him, hunting around for like the microscope, which once
mhm,
again mirrored very well the beginning with Agnes going around her daily life in the hotel room. And so the fact that we got a dual scene of that, of Peter doing that as well, hunting for the microscope, was great. So it was almost
mhm,
like a nice little mini reset there. But yeah, I found I was like, I could imagine this piece without the intermission, and I think it's even better.
mhm.
Like if you can keep your audience locked in that room and not let them out until the fire burns at the end, even better. Like I thought this is a play that warrants being locked in a space. It's
Mhm,
like Blackbird that Talk is Free Theater just did
mhm.
here in Toronto as well, where that piece is you're in the room and you don't get out until the end of the show, and there are moments where you want to leave and you can't. And
Mhm.
it's that like I was sorry to leave during that tooth pull, and I was like, but if I leave, I can't come back. And
Yep.
and part of me wanted to stay, and part of me wanted to get out of there. At the same time, I was like, brilliant, brilliant. Like that's the level that you want to feel throughout this whole piece.
I'm curious how many other productions, I'm sure other productions have latched onto the advantage of doing it
Hmm.
in one shot, because it's not terribly long. Like sometimes
No,
you
it's
need an intermission because
yeah,
just the practicality of, if you're 3 hours long, people are gonna have to go to the bathroom, right?
yes,
So the that's not really a concern. Like it falls into a nice
yeah,
2 hour slot. It's not overly
yeah,
long, and it makes sense to just
yeah,
plow through it, right?
yes, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is just such a great show. I mean, I was already messaging some people when I got home last night being like, "Get your tickets, go see this piece if you can." Like, it's so compelling to watch. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm sure we could talk even more about this piece and pick it apart even further under the microscope. I mean, before we wrap up though, is there anything you want to touch upon that we haven't touched upon yet?
Not really. I just want to reemphasize how this play is very much a part of me. So
Mm,
I'm very attached to it.
yeah.
And so there's a lot, I feel very invested in the material. So
Hmm.
I am again elated that
Yeah.
they just handled it so masterfully. Those
Hmm.
all of those people were so real to me, and that space was so real to me. And
Hmm.
I just feel so grateful to everyone
Hmm.
involved that it came together the way that it did,
Yeah.
because again, the play is so special to me. And
Hmm.
I felt surprised by it,
Hmm.
which impressed me. So that was special to me, that they startled me in ways that I didn't expect. So yes, I hope a lot of people can get out to see it.
Hmm.
It's very special.
It's great counter programming for the Christmas holidays because I mean, we just did our that episode come out after this one, but we just went and saw the Hallmark parody musical.
Right?
That's a great holiday parody of all the Hallmark tropes, and that's so fun and so light.
Hmm.
But sometimes it's been shown that sometimes some of the best stuff to do during the holidays is do counter programming to
Hmm.
it because people aren't always wanting that festive ho 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 energy, and
Hmm.
you have that stuff here in the city. You got Christmas carols and other Christmas pantomimes, but you also got to play like this. That's like if you're not into that, and Die Hard's your like go to Christmas movie.
Hmm.
This is right in that wheelhouse of counter programming that is brilliant for the holidays. It gives people that different energy that they're looking for. So I thoroughly, thoroughly love this piece. Like once again, King Black Box, Elkabong Theatre Productions, you guys have done a terrific job pulling this piece together. And it runs till December the 13th.
Hmm.
So links down below, get your tickets. And yeah, I mean, just wow. Another stellar, stellar show. Where can people find and follow you and your blog that you do?
Oh, oh yeah. So I will also be writing review for this production.
Love
So
it.
I feel very out of my element here, because I mean, I'll chat with my friends about productions, but
Yeah,
this is on record. And
yeah.
usually my contribution on record, I've had a chance to sort of craft over hours in
Mhm.
private. And so this was a little nerve-wracking for me. It's that one thing that I do every day that scares me. This was the thing I did today that scares me. So now
You
I
did
get
it. You did great.
it feels like a brainstorming session for what
Yeah.
I'm going to write too, which is helpful. So it's www.istvan, so my name,
Mhm,
dugalin.com, ISTVAN DUGALIN.
mhm.
And yeah,
Perfect. And we'll have that link right down below. Is there any social media people can follow you at? Or just the blog.
and thank you for the opportunity
Oh,
to do
my
this.
pleasure. My gosh, this was so great. I mean, Ryan's the one that, being the amazing man he is with his amazing Rolodex of people that he's like, I want them on our channel. And, you were one of his top people. He's like, I got to get you on an episode. And sure enough, Bug just, flew into our space and it was like,
Yeah.
that's it. That's the key. That's the magic. So we're so happy to now have you on our official Rolodex so we can have you back for more
I'm
fun,
excited.
fun conversations. Yeah, and you can follow me at Mackenzie Horner, all social media platforms. Follow my musical theater antics over on Before the Downbeat, a musical podcast where we're releasing reviews of the Wicked movie that just came out. We have episodes all about Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and Book of Mormon and Assassins, all coming very soon. So keep an eye out for that. And once again, go see Bug, Theater Black Box, Elkabong Theater Productions. It's great. Go see it. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Stay healthy, stay safe. Get your fly swatters in your raid ready at all times. You never know when those aphids are going to come. And until then, everybody, we will see you all in our next episode. Cheers.
Bye bye.
Thank you.